We're back on Larry King Live with Dr. Frederic Maillet and his friend Mark Butt, two on-the-scene witnesses. Did you have all of your necessary emergency?
No.
You did not?
No, because I was off duty, this month.
Had you had it, could you have done more at the scene?
Well, I would have need much more. I would have need an ambulance, an emergency ambulance with a nurse and a lot of equipment. That's not what I have in my car.
Emergency room physicians, having seen them, unfortunately having been to be a part of it,
I know.
I noticed that they talk to people a lot. They like to calm them at least. Did you talk to the lady in the back of the car?
Sure I did.
Saying?
Saying two kind of things. First was trying to know in what condition she was, and that kind of medical interrogation,
So you asked her, where's the pain, or?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. And the other part was to try to make her feel more comfortable.
So you'd say something like, it's okay?
It's okay, well, everything will be all right, and the ambulance is coming right away, that kind of.
Did she say anything to you?
No.
Did not? Any moaning at all? Any pain?
That's part of the medical secret, but she expressed herself.
Could she hear what you were saying, do you think?
Maybe, yes.
Maybe yes, but you're never sure.
I'm not sure.
Was the fireman talking to the gentleman in front?
Yeah.
He was pretty much the same kind of thing?
He didn't speak that much. I don't really remember what he said.
Was he, you were speaking in English, right?
Yes.
Then you knew she was English?
I knew because someone in my back told me that the victim were speaking English.
Oh, someone said that?
Yeah.
Brookwood, Alabama, hello.
Hello?
Hi.
Yes. I have a question for the doctor. Did you tell the photographers that you were a medical doctor and that's the reason they stayed behind you to not take pictures?
I didn't ask them not to take pictures, but I presented myself as a doctor, as a trained physician, so they let me go and
But
have
so
access.
you did tell them you were a doctor?
Yeah.
Mark, what were you doing all of this time, which must have been a total of about 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
What were you doing?
Minutes. At times, while kind of watching the situation, watching what the photographers were doing, also I saw a photographer having words with another person who didn't have a camera. I don't know whether he was a photographer or not, but he didn't have a camera in his hand. And they were in a physical and verbal confrontation very near where I was. And then I saw that same photographer go back, and he's the one that I saw get the closest to the car and actually put a huge lens practically in the car to get the closest shot that he possibly could get. That was one thing that I found that revolted me.
And
Right.
You're still not thinking this is a famous person. You're thinking more, I'm going to get great accident shots for the newspaper.
Oh, no.
What are you thinking?
I knew, well, it was hard to figure out what was happening. You knew it was somebody famous. It was a fancy car. There were lots of photographers, but couldn't quite figure out, I mean, who could this be? Maybe an Arab prince or somebody. I mean, there's so many rich and famous people in Paris. There's no idea at all who it turned out to be.
Do you ever, doctor, get emotionally used to being in a life of emergency medicine? I mean, death is around you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever just brush that off?
Oh, well, when you train, it's been 10 years, more than 10 years that I'm doing this job. So, of course, at the beginning, I was younger and I was more moved to this kind of situation. But now, when I'm doing my job, when I'm giving help to the patient, I cannot be moved. Because if you move, if you panic,
If you cry, if you...
you cannot be efficient.
We want our emergency physicians to be very
Patient and quiet.
But what's going on inside?
Inside, it's quite the same, I would say.
Really?
At the moment of the action, I would say. Afterwards, when everything is done, the reaction comes. Especially if it's a matter of a children, or a child, or pretty woman, of course.
Do you also say to yourself, could I have done more?
Practically all the time.
We'll be back with more of our guests and your phone calls. Don't go away. We're back. Rochester, New York. Hello.
Hello, a question for the doctor. First of all, je voudrais vous remercier pour aider la princesse après sa accident. The question is, have any members of the royal family attempted to contact you, and have you spoken with them?
No, I didn't receive anything from the royal family. I sent my a letter of condolence, how do you say that? Condolence. Thank you. To the British Embassy, and they invited me for the ceremony in Paris.
Did you go?
Yeah, sure.
Did you get, is it true you got some blood on you? Some of her blood on you?
Yeah, I was wearing a white pant, and her hand had some blood on her hand, so she put some blood on my trousers.
Did her hand fall toward your leg, is that it?
Mhm.
Did you notice that?
I noticed the blood on his pants. I said, well, that's going to be hard to get out. So he said he went home and scrubbed it. And
You're used to that too, aren't you?
Well, I used to that with my doctor's outfit.
Yeah, sure. In France, the emergency doctor goes on the ambulance, right?
Yeah.
But not just paramedics.
No,
There's a doctor
doctors,
on
it's
the
a
ambulance.
medical team. That's why we can do almost everything. Everything we can do in the emergency room, we can do that in the ambulance.
And that's why the ambulance doesn't have to go 100 miles an hour.
Absolutely.
You're also in another service, right? What do you do?
The other job is SOS Médecins, which is SOS Doctors. We are
SOS doctor.
Yeah, we are a group of 160 doctors in Paris, and we are doing house calls. Within 1 hour, no more than 1 hour, you can get a doctor at home.
House calls.
Mm-hmm.
A forgotten term in the United States. House calls.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll go out to a home on emergency in the house, any one of the 160. You are, France is a socialized medicine country, right? You are paid by the government. Or can you
no.
practice privately?
Yeah, it's private.
It is privately, for both jobs.
This SOS Doctors is private, and the emergency medicine is paid by the government.
Once they found out about you, Mark, were you hounded by reporters and the like in the days that followed?
pretty much had people come to my work and get telephone calls quite a bit.
You manage a restaurant, right?
Right.
Joe Allen's, right?
Joe Allen in Paris.
And have lived in Paris for how long?
A little over 5 years.
Monterey, California, hello.
Yes, this question's for Mark. I'd like to know if Mark witnessed another vehicle leaving the scene.
You know, I didn't actually see any vehicles leave the scene. I just saw the cars that were parked. It was kind of interesting because there were no cars in back of the accident. There was not like a rolling back up where we had on our side of the lane. We were going in the opposite direction. There was a rolling back up of onlookers. But behind the accident,
None.
there were no other cars or vehicles that I saw in the tunnel on their side of the road.
You only saw the one in front with the two people talking, and we never found out who
Right.
they were or what
Right.
the car was. What do you make of this Fiat story?
I don't know what to make of it.
But you saw no sign that this car hit another car.
No, not that I could tell. It didn't. It wasn't badly. I didn't see that it was damaged at all.
The car itself, that much destruction told you what? High speed?
High speed. That's what we talked about that in the car afterwards. Like they must have been going really fast.
You didn't see any flashing lights following them into the tunnel, right? I mean, when you were driving into the tunnel and the cars moved ahead and you stopped, you didn't see any flash bulbs going off, etc. All you saw was smoke.
Only smoke. Like I said, when we first saw the car for the first time, there were no photographers that I remember around the car. It was just 2 or 3 or 4 people that were going toward the car, but we didn't see anybody.
So you, doctor, must have gotten there, what, like a minute to 30 seconds?
I guess less than 1 minute. Yeah.
It would have to be immediate if the car's still smoking. Did you ever fear the car might blow?
I didn't think about that actually.
Didn't think
And the point.
smoke coming?
Yeah, that's right. And I know that it would. I should have turned off the engine, but the point is the engine and the driver was on the other side, next to the wall, so I didn't have any access to the driver.
So the engine was on.
It wasn't on, but I shouldn't. It's better to turn
Turn it off and you know it's off, yeah. And the horn, do you think, was from the body of the driver hitting the horn?
I really don't know. It stayed just for 1 minute.
And then it stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Did you assist at all in keeping photographers away, getting people close, talking to people? What role did Mark Butt play?
I just watched the panorama of events, watched the panic, watched more and more photographers arrive. But no, I mean, I stayed close just in case he did need help. I mean, that he could, say, oh, get me this or get me that, because at the last accident that I helped him at, I had to hold an IV bag while he gave an IV.
I was going to ask, you have been with your friend at other accident scenes.
Right.
There was nothing Mark could have done here.
No.
We'll be back with more and more of your phone calls on Larry King Live. Barbara Walters tomorrow night, George Clooney on Friday. Don't go away. We're back. We go to Lafayette, Colorado. Hello.
Hi, my question is for the doctor. Without revealing anything she might have said to you, can you tell us if the princess ever regained consciousness enough to know what had happened to her, or do you think she just never knew what hit her?
She didn't, I think she had a consciousness who moved, which changed from minutes and minutes, but...
Her mood changed? So obviously she was not unconscious.
She was partly unconscious and partly unconscious sometimes.
So like we've seen in pictures or something where someone comes into consciousness out of consciousness. Would you gather, doctor, and this would be a very educated guess, that she was in a lot of pain?
I think she was in pain, yeah.
Because of the internal bleeding and the broken bone. And also, obviously, the bodyguard in front had to be in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
If the whole, everything's in on him and all you can see is his head. Are you surprised he lived?
I don't know what was underneath his head, as I told you, so, but I wasn't that surprised in it.
London, Ontario, Canada. Hello.
Hi, this question is for the doctor. I would like to know what type of first aid did you give to the princess? And apparently in the previous interview, I think it was one of your earlier interviews, you stated that you gave her oxygen. If you gave her oxygen, didn't you have to look at her face? And how come we didn't know it was the princess?
Of course I looked at her face, of course, but by behind, because I was in the back, so I wasn't in front of her. And
You mean you put the oxygen on around the... I see. You didn't turn her face around.
That's what I did.
Why oxygen? Why the first thing oxygen?
Yeah, because it's the first thing you can give, and that's what I had. And that's what you need already after the accident. When it's a severe accident, you always need oxygen.
Would you gather that the driver and Doty died instantly?
I think so.
So they did not suffer much, and they were like alive and then dead.
Yeah, I guess.
It's changed when you drive down the street now in Paris. What is that tunnel like? Do people stop? Do they take pictures of the tunnel? What's going on at that tunnel in Paris, Mark?
It's become a shrine now. There are flowers all around. The police have barricaded it around so that people can't just walk down. It's controlled by the police, and there are just droves of people every day. I think that eventually they're going to put a plaque or something. It's just really become a shrine.
In fact, you drove by the Ritz on the way home, right?
Right, as we left the accident on the way back to the house, went past the Ritz Hotel and saw a crowd out front and said to each other, there must be someone important staying at the Ritz.
We had one guest say that, who's been in that tunnel many times, you can't go 60, 70 miles an hour in that tunnel, much less 100.
I haven't tried.
They said you almost couldn't, the way it curves in. Is that true? You couldn't do high speed in that tunnel.
But before, it's straight. The street is straight before. I don't know, it's maybe half a mile or a mile, I don't know.
It's
But
straight.
it's straight, so with a very powerful car like the Mercedes, it's very easy to get to the speed.
Get the speed
till the
before you
entrance.
hit the tunnel.
Yeah,
But you can't go that speed through the tunnel.
I guess it's dangerous, yeah.
We'll be back with our remaining moments. Don't go away. We thank our guests, by the way, for traveling across the Atlantic yesterday from Paris to be on this show live tonight, going across the Atlantic. And now we go across the Pacific to Maui, Hawaii. Hello.
Aloha.
Aloha. What's the question?
My question is, when I was William's age, my father was killed, and I wanted to talk to anybody I possibly could to find out the details. If William and Harry came to you, would you be able to divulge more to them than what we're able to hear now to calm their hearts?
Yeah, thank you. What can you tell in French law to the family?
I can almost tell everything.
So if the boys came and wanted to know, you can tell.
Sure, that will be part of my duty. And I can understand this lady who had trouble to speak, and she wants to speak about her father's death. Yeah,
We
sure.
want closure, do we not, Mark? And apparently, when we don't get it, this continues. How do you explain this continuing phenomena of attention as an American living abroad, from your viewpoint?
Well, it's hard to describe. There's something about celebrities, and especially ones that we love, or even ones that we hate, I guess, too. It's just always really interesting, especially there's a lot of mystery that surrounds this particular case. There are lots of stories, there are lots of theories, there's lots of misinformation, and I just think we're going to go through this for quite a while yet. It's not going to be a story that dies.
Doctor, why do you think it stays?
What I think is important is that what we remind of Princess Diana is that she was a good person. She was a nice person. She helped, she gave a lot of time for the charity, and she was a very good mother. That's what we remember of her. And I think we need that kind of people.
So when we lose them, it's like losing a little of us.
Mm-hmm.
You treat so many people in emergency situations. Do you feel strange about that pair of pants?
What do you mean?
You have blood, her blood on your pants. Do you feel
Well, I washed it, so...
part of the job?
Yeah, it's part of the job, it doesn't matter. And
Thank you both very much for coming.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it, Doctor.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you.
Both gentlemen flew in from Paris yesterday to be with us tonight. Dr. Frederick Maillet and Mark Butt. Tomorrow night, Barbara Walters will join us. We look forward to that. On Thursday night, Candace Bergen will be here. Friday night, George Clooney and Nicole Kidman. And we got a big show coming up on Monday night dealing with the Marv Albert case. Whether that case is over or not, on Monday night we will focus on it from every viewpoint possible. Thanks very much for joining us. From New York City, I'm Larry King. For our guests, the whole crew here and all around the world, good night.